We are live! Oh my god, wow. It's been a while since I've been live. So let me just get situated and let me see that everything is working perfectly. Hold on for a hot second. Wow. How has everyone been? It's been a while since I've done a live, so this should be pretty interesting, right? There's been so many things happening at this point. Truly a wild time that we are living in, right? So, yes, I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes and I will get started. Let's see. Cool, cool, cool. Everything looking pretty good. Awesome. Let me just take one more look at this. Okay, yes. Seems like everything's working out fine. How is everyone doing during this pandemic? Are we all good? Are we all living? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up right now. Alrighty. Okay. So I'm gonna talk about what I've been watching these days, and then we'll do a Q&A afterwards, and you guys can talk about what you've been watching and what you would recommend. And so, yes, let's get started. There's a couple of films I've been watching as of lately that I've been loving. Particularly, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films that are from different genres that I really adore. So starting with number 1 is Kelly Reichardt's First Cow. Don't know if you heard about this film. It's an A24 film, and if you know anything about Kelly Reichardt's movies, they're kind of slow. They take place in nature, and this one, First Cow, I've heard about it. Actually, have I seen any of her films before? Maybe one other film, but this film is something I've heard a lot about, and so I decided, let me check it out. And A24, as you know, like, I'm a big fan, and they're pretty spot on with all their films, and so I trust the type of films that they're acquiring. So it's about a skilled cook who has traveled west and joins a group of fur trappers in Oregon. Though he only finds true connection with a Chinese immigrant also seeking his fortune. Soon the two collaborate on a successful business that involves a cow. The first thing about this film, I know that it's about 2 hours and a half. It's kind of long. It's really one of those films that you're living in. It's, even though I don't feel like the plot really happens till 40 minutes in, I just liked being in part of this world. It was so luscious. I know that they filmed it, what's that called? They filmed it in like a square formats, and the colors are just so nicely done. It's like while I was watching it, it really just felt like I was basking in the sun, and like that warmth that you feel, it kind of feels like that. And so I really enjoyed watching this. I love the actors in it. John Magaro, who plays Cookie, as well as Orion Lee, who plays King Lu. And so these two men are in the wilderness. They're trying to make things happen. And I think this takes place in like the 1800s. And so it's kind of far back, right? And so they have to do things their own unique way, very organically, and things happen. And it's just really interesting the way that the story unravels, because it, like I said, it is very lived in. The music especially, I really like the music. there was something very special about it, and it was just this film is just very soothing and cozy. And if you want to watch a film where you just feel right at home, this is the film for you. I think this is Kelly's sixth or seventh film. She's done a lot of films. I think I watched Old Joy, and I still need to tune into Wendy and Lucy. I watched Night Moves. I watched that one. I still need to turn into Meek's Cut Off. Searching Women. I gotta watch that. So there's a lot of films of Kelly's that I still need to watch. But First Cow is one of those films that I totally recommend. All these films that I'm recommending are things that came out this year that I really enjoyed. So yes. Next up, you might have heard about this film. It is The Old Guard. As you know, it is Netflix's most popular movie right now. I think it's been at #1 since it premiered. And so this is Gina Prince Bythewood's film. This was actually adapted from a graphic novel, right? So it's about a covert team of immortal mercenaries who are suddenly exposed and must now fight to keep their identity a secret, just as an unexpected new member is discovered. I really didn't know anything about this film, so I kind of went in blind. I just knew it was an action flick that starred Charlize Theron, who I adore. And so I was like, okay, let's go in, because Charlize Theron, right? You can't really go wrong with her. She's just so amazing. So Kiki Lane is also in this. Matthias, I can't pronounce his last name, but he's been in a lot of things. Marwan Kenzari, Luca Marinelli, Chiwetel Ejiofor is also in it. And you know who's also in it? Dudley of Harry Potter. Which, when I saw him, I was like, this guy looks so familiar that I immediately knew it was him. How could you forget such a face? Am I right? So this is a total badass action flick. One of the probably better ones I've seen this year. I had no expectations. I kind of went in blind. Like I said, I didn't even know that it was based off of a graphic novel. And so it was really fascinating when all these things happen, if you know the spoilers, because I had no idea. So I was like, oh, what is going on? What's happening with these characters? And they really set up this first film so it could be a franchise. And the next two, or the next whatever, I don't know if there's next two, but the next film, I'm really excited to see how they do it, especially because these characters are so interesting. And for one, I love Charlize Theron, like I said. And I'm trying to think of the last Charlize Theron action film. She was in that like John Wick type, which was also directed by one of the directors of John Wick. What was it? It's been a while. Atomic Blonde. Yes, Atomic Blonde, which I definitely recommend for you to watch if you liked John Wick as well. Love that. Yeah, Charlize Theron. I think besides Atomic Blonde, I can really think of Mad Max, right? That's the two other action flicks. And so she already knows how action films work and how to fight and things like that. And so everything came very naturally in this film. And what I found so fascinating, I guess just in general, stories about mystical beings who have some type of powers, those are films I'm always fascinated with. And so I really enjoyed this. I thought it was interesting the way that they used music as well. So look out for that. And Kiki Lane was just really amazing as this rookie in the film. If you watch this on Netflix, let me know what your thoughts were. I know that, I mean, it was the most popular film on Netflix, right? So at least some of you must have watched it, right? Yes? No? Anyways, so there's that. The next film is actually a horror film. Oh wait, before I talk about horror, the real queen of horror and I did a discussion about this zombie blaxploitation film called Sugar Hill. The review is now up on my channel, so after this, go watch that. It's actually on Shudder. It's amazing. We'll have a few more reviews coming up in the coming week, so look out for that. And so, okay, speaking of horror films, there's been a lot of horror films to come out. I'm not sure. Maybe yes, right? One of them is called RELIC. Have you heard about it? It's been getting polarizing reviews. When I go on Letterboxd, you can follow me on Letterboxd. If I go on Letterboxd, the reviews of RELIC is like really horrible. But then if I go on Twitter, people are raving about it. So beyond that, my friend Sal of Chrome Yellow was like, hey, you should check out Relic. And I said, all right, let me check it out. And so I had no expectations, did not know anything about it, and I just went in blind. So this is what it's about. A daughter, mother, and grandmother are haunted by a manifestation of dementia that consumes their family's home. Very simplistic log line of what this film actually is about. Directed by Australian director Natalie Erica James. This is her first film, and I know that it got acquired by IFC, right? They do a lot of horror films. This also stars Emily Mortimer, Robin Nevin, Bella Heathcote. And so it's these three women in this house. I know that people love to talk about horror films and compare everything to Hereditary, but it's like there's other films besides Hereditary, you guys. Not everything is reminiscent of Hereditary. I think they might have popularized a lot of these horror traits, but horror has been done in this way for so long. So, yes. I think we gotta... Have you seen Terrifier? Before I get into this, I'm going to talk about this. I will get back to that. I don't know about Terrifier, but Terrified is a film that I'm talking about next week. So, yes. Okay, so Relic, what I found fascinating is just the way that the story unraveled, especially for it being slow burn, and then it kind of really ramps up at the very end. I know, to me, when I was watching it, it was really kind of reminiscent of the moods of The Lodge. Oh my god, The Lodge with Riley Keough. I think that film is on Hulu at the moment, so check that out. I liked the cinematography in this that really set the mood, and then you already knew that this was kind of a slow burn kind of movie, so I didn't really expect jump scares and things like that. I think the true horror comes with the interactions and the story underlying it. Sure, it's a horror film, but I think there's so much more to this than simply a horror jump scare type of movie, right? So I watched it on Amazon Prime, and I watched it at my house because obviously theaters are not open at the moment. And so it was a very slow burn. It had a lot of layers to the story, and it kind of unraveled at the exact part that I needed more information. So I was really engaged. And then when the story really ramped up at the end, I was just like, wow, what the fuck is this movie? Like, I cannot believe what is happening. And I think the very end, one of the last shots is one of the most devastating things to really witness, because as much as you know, horror films, the real scary thing about horror films is the emotional parts and not actually the scares that come with it. I know that in the trailer, if you look up the trailer of Relic, it shows you this dead body, and after the film I actually watched the trailer, and they did a really great job in kind of teasing out the story, but also it's hard for people to me, when people say it's generic, I can't believe that, because you can always get inspirations for horror stories, but you really just need to experience it for yourself and not listen to all these other people, because horror is so subjective and it affects people so differently. So that's what I will say with Relic. Watch it for yourself, decide what you think. I really, really enjoyed it, but I also was not comparing it to all the other previous horror films that are out there. And that's also a common mistake. Do not do that, because then you'll see how everything is just a fake, like a ripoff of every little thing else. And movies, that's what movies are, right? A ripoff of other movies with new inspirations. So, yes, that is on Amazon Prime. So the next film I watched in June is called Miss Juneteenth. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, it's the day where, especially in Texas, where all the slaves were freed. I think so. June 19th is really a memorable and important day in U.S. history. And so this film is called Miss Juneteenth. It's by Channing Godfrey Peoples. The story is about a former beauty queen and single mom prepares her rebellious teenage daughter for the Miss Juneteenth pageant. The thing I really liked about this film is how much it was rooted in realism, and it was just so beautifully done in capturing real life. It's not these characters that are like really outlandish and things like that. It's real people with real issues, and I really liked how relatable it was, especially when you're from a small town and you can't really get out of the small town. I think everybody wishes they can get out of their small town, but it's like, that's easier said than done. And so I think the beauty in this, who stars in it? Sorry, I am not good with names, as you know. Nicole Behari. Kendrick Sampson is also in this. Alexis Chikazi. So Nicole plays Turquoise Jones. She was Miss Juneteenth. She won her pageant back in the day. And I think she's really hung up on the fact that she won, and she had big expectations for herself. And she ended up just working at her local restaurant or multiple jobs just to keep afloat. And I think this type of story is so real for a lot of people, especially when you have big dreams but you're not able to get there, and how kind of those expectations trickle down to your offspring. And so I thought this was, performance wise, beautifully done. I loved the way, like, such nuanced acting in their faces, as well as just how relevant and true and grounded the story is. Where did I watch this? I watched Miss Juneteenth on Apple. So it is available on Apple. Yeah, we're gonna take a mini break before I talk about the two other films that I'm super excited about. I'm gonna take a mini break and tell you the TV shows, or I guess other movies I've been watching, for a quick second. As you know, I'm a big Marvel fan, and so I've been really hung up. During this quarantine, I've been really hung up on Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like, I've been just watching it on loop, which is not healthy. You guys, do not do that. But it's the only thing that makes me feel better about the current state we are in. And the action sequences are just amazing. And something about Avengers, right? I've rewatched, like, Iron Man. Then we went to Avengers. And then Doctor Strange is one of those films where I know it got a lot of heat back in the day when it got released, but that film is visually so stunning and just so well done that, I don't know, just makes the whole Marvel Universe films that much better. So there's that. I mean, what can I say about Infinity War and Endgame, right? I've been watching it. I've stopped watching it right now. I have moved on to binging Star Wars. So there's that. All right, back to our regular scheduled program, which is the other films that I've been watching. One of them is called Lucky Grandma. For all of these, please, I will link the trailers. I don't know how this works, right? The trailers right here or right here. I will link the trailers. So there's a film called Lucky Grandma by Stacey Seeley. It is set in New York City's Chinatown. A chain-smoking Chinese grandma goes all in at the casino, landing herself on the wrong side of luck and in the middle of a gang war. If you don't know anything about Asian people, we love to gamble. I don't know what it is, but Asian people love to gamble a lot. So it's I just really liked watching this. Where did I watch this? I know that is probably available on all VOD platforms. Go check that out. The grandma is played by Sai Chin, who, if you saw her face, you would recognize her instantly. She's been in so many films. Memoirs of a Geisha, Casino Royale, Now You See Me Too. Whoa, she was in We Bare Bears. Like, she's been in the industry for so long, and so truly one of the pioneers of Asian American cinema. So Lucky Grandma was amazing because I know that it was part of this Tribeca program where you go pitch your story and then you win $1 million on the spot. For like, it's insane. So I know that they went through that program, and so they were able to make this, and this was really great because not only is Sai Chin's acting so comedic and so charismatic, but the editing's fantastic. And I think the editor, she's a well-known editor for a lot of shows. Let me just double check. Hey Me Na is their editor, and she edited for Billions, She's Gotta Have It, the TV show, which is She-Rock, right? Ooh, sorry, bad. She's really good at doing multiple, like, really fast cuts. And so I really appreciated that all the montages in this were really quick and very informative and just really stylistic, as well as getting all the information out there. And this is just a really great, fun film to watch. You know, during this quarantine, as much as I have been watching a lot of Black films regarding Black Lives Matter, whether it is I Am Not Your Negro or 13th, which I recommend, but also while I'm Who Streets, I've been watching that as well. But in between all that, I've been trying to watch lighter and comedic films like Lucky Grandma. So look out for that. It's really funny, and I think it's just really well done all around. And I really like just seeing an Asian American film that could balance like comedy as well as real life situations and something that was like out of the ordinary. I don't think that people think of Asians and think of gangs, but it was interesting to see it in this kind of world. The next film, and the last film that I will talk about, is this film called House of Hummingbird. It is by Bora Kim. It is a Korean film. So I know that it's exploded with the popularity of Korean film has exploded with Parasite. Definitely not like Parasite. House of Hummingbird is such a beautiful coming of age story of this little girl who, okay, wait, before I get that, this is a premise. Seoul, 1994, in the year of Sangsu Bridge collapsed. Let me start over. It is Seoul, 1994. In the year the Songsu Bridge collapsed, a 14-year-old Eunhee wanders the city searching for love. So it's really a coming-of-age story about this girl named Eunhee, and she has a very dysfunctional family, and she is really searching for her place in this chaotic world and trying to grow up. And like, it just tackles so many things that feel so real and relevant, especially when you don't necessarily come from a good family. Like, I related so much with this main character despite her being what, 14 or so. And even if this was taking place in 1994, it was just so beautiful. And the music is, oh my god, can you go on Spotify right now and listen to the soundtrack? It is so whimsical, majestic. I wish I could live in this serene place forever. Watching this film, even though there's some harsh realities that come out of the story, it really soothed my soul like First Cow did. You just see life unravel and you're just in it, and everything is so beautiful. This is definitely check out the poster and the trailer for this. I don't know if it will do the film justice. The film runs about like 2 hours and a half, and it's that long for a certain reason. I mean, you're really seeing life happen with all the shittiness as well as the beautiful parts of being a teen and all the heightened emotions. So yeah, House of Hummingbird. And oh, House of Hummingbird was probably the only film on this list that didn't come out this year. I think it came out in 2018, and it took a while for me to see it or even be able to see it because I obviously couldn't access it in America. It went through the film festival circuit several times, and finally it's on Kino Marquee. That's where I saw it. And Kino Marquee also has Lucky Grandma. It has some fantastic indie films that you should all watch. It's really been such a lifesaver to be able to watch all these films. As much as, sure, I have Netflix, Hulu, whatever, but all these newly released films are really hard to watch because I know that they are getting postponed at this point. And so thank you, Kino Marquee, for having these titles available. I don't know the state of movies right now. I know that the Christopher Nolan film Tenet got postponed, which is such a shame because AMC released a clip and it looked so fantastic. I was really excited. You just know when you see a Christopher Nolan film, and I can't like, I think somebody said it was the 10th anniversary of Inception, right? Ooh, that is, it feels very similar vibes as Inception. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm interested to see what comes of Tenet, especially because Christopher Nolan is such a trailblazer in just the movie experience, and I know that he wants to advocate for movie theaters, but at this point it's like, how can you even think about going to the movies, right? So a little overview of all the films that I talked about. Kelly Reichardt's First Cow, Gina Prince Blithwood's The Old Guard, which is on Netflix, Natalie Erica James's Relic, horror film, Channing Godfrey Peoples' Miss Juneteenth, Sassy Seeley's Lucky Grandma, and Bora Kim's House of Hummingbird. Like I said, all these films are from very different genres, and so some are horror, some are action, some are very foreign films, and so figure out which fits to your taste and tackle them. Every one of them has such a great story to offer, and I'm really excited that these came out. Some films that I'm looking forward to seeing, actually not films in general, but I guess shows. I've been wanting to watch the Bruce Lee documentary Be Water on ESPN. I think they might have it available tonight. So I'm gonna try to watch that, as well as the Indian matchmaking show. It's literally called Indian Matchmaking on Netflix. I'm really excited to watch that. I don't really love dating shows in general, but this one looks really fascinating only because you get to explore different cultures, get the insider scoop on what's happening. Also, Michaela Cole's I May Destroy You, which is on HBO. I think there was an article on Vulture that came out about Michaela Cole, who did Chewing Gum, which I absolutely adore that series, which is on Netflix. I'm so sad that it's not gonna get renewed. But I May Destroy You is on HBO. I know that Netflix wanted to buy it, but they didn't want to give all of her rights, copyrights, which you should always try to keep some of your copyrights to your work. That is #1 rule, right? But Netflix didn't want to, and then she ended up going with HBO, which probably was a better answer. And so I don't have HBO now or Go. There's so many forms of HBO, but I am interested to see that. So yes, are there any films that you are trying to watch or have you watched that you love? Let me know. There's a couple of films that I'm anticipating, but yeah, let me know your recommendations. I think I've been watching so many and like revisiting older films at this point, and so I am trying to watch more in general. I mean, who knows when we'll be back in theaters, right? And I think all the blockbusters are being held. So yes, who knows? Who knows? Do we have any questions at this point? Or I'm just going to do a bonus round. I've been rambling for like 30 minutes. I cannot believe that I've been doing that, but a lot of films to get through. I've been really into Shudder, and so there's a lot of original material and films on Shudder that I cannot wait to see. Shudder is a horror online streaming platform, and they've been always putting out really great movies, and so there's a lot. I know somebody said, have you seen Terrifier? I don't know about Terrifier. I know about Terrified, which is a review that I'm going to come out next week. Spoiler alert. I heard about this film called The Beach House that I'm interested in seeing. There's a lot. There's so many films that I want to see. Right? Oh, wait. Let me talk about... Oh, there was a bonus round. Bonus round. There's a film called Revenge. Have you guys heard about it? Revenge? It actually came out in 2017. I watched it on Shudder, right? I think. Yes, Shudder. The premise is never take your mistress on an annual guy's getaway, especially one devoted to hunting, a violent lesson for 3 wealthy married men. So this is directed by Coralie Fargeet. Ooh, I am so bad with names. I think this is her directorial debut film, and this is a revenge action film, and they do so many things well. Like, the editing is perfect. Oh, it is also a film by Neon. So yes, film by Neon. It's on Shudder. Revenge is the name, and it is about revenge. It's about a girl who takes revenge after these 3 guys who do her wrong, and there's certain scenes were just so memorable. I think the editing in general is so memorable in this film. Just the way that they cut everything together. I think there's one scene where she takes some, I don't know what kind of drugs it is, but it distorts her mind, her memory, and everything is cut really quickly. And it's so, the sound design is so visceral and you're just so in it. I pretty much adored every part of this movie. It really kept your like like your blood pumping. I can't even speak. Blood pumping because of the tension, anticipation, and everything that went in this type of movie. So I'm watch it. That's all I can say. If you didn't know by now, all of these films are actually directed by women, which I am so excited about. And I'm glad that there's more types of films directed by women than just, say, rom-coms or things like that. Although I do love a good rom-com, which there isn't as many now, but I'm hoping that there's more. Oh, another film, which I will talk about later when I talk about the best films of 2020 so far, is Alex Wu's The Half of It, which is also on Netflix. But that's for another time. I'm going to talk about my favorite films of 2020 a little bit later. But yes, these are the films that I have been watching lately that I absolutely loved, which actually happen to be directed by women. Yes. Oh, sorry, I got a comment. Let me just read that. What do you think about the adaptation of Blade of the Immortal? In my opinion, the look was awesome, but the continuity was disjointed if you're not a reader of the manga. I am not familiar of Blade of the Immortal. I don't know if that is tied with the Old Guard. I'm not sure. But I do really love graphic novels. So if you have any recommendations for graphic novels, let me know. As far as the Old Guard graphic novel, I heard that they were pretty true to the original material. And so, wait, didn't the guy that actually wrote the graphic novel also write the screenplay? Let me double check. Oh, yes. Greg Rucka, who wrote the graphic novel series and he also wrote the screenplay. That's kind of hard to do when you're transitioning from graphic novel to screenplay, because I think it's a very different format. But kudos to him for being able to do both. It's kind of like Gillian Flynn, right? Gillian Flynn, who did Gone Girl. She wrote the book as well as the movie, which is a tough transition. I know I've been more interested in screenwriting at this point, and so I've been studying and reading. This is such a generic book to read, but Save the Cat is probably the most popular screenwriting book to read, and it's been very, very informative. So if you are interested in screenwriting, I definitely recommend that book. I guess a mini update on my life. Besides being on lockdown and in the quarantine, like I said, I've been watching a lot of movies, specifically these movies. As far as my film goes, Liquor Store Dreams, which I will post an update for my Kickstarter supporters soon. I think all I can really mention is that we are making very small progress. I think the problem with making your own film is money, right? It's always the topic of money. So we'll get there soon, just baby steps. What else? Obviously you've seen I haven't really been making any reviews, but I'm hoping to slowly get back into them. Maybe I will do a live stream every Wednesday or Friday. Let me know when you guys would prefer. It's always good to chit chat. And so, yeah, I mean, I think during this time of lockdown and just the uprisings that are happening in the US. It's been mentally and emotionally very chaotic, but I'm glad that movies still exist and are accessible. And so I've been trying to watch more things, more coming of age stories, only because I'm trying to look for examples, even for my future screenplay, of things to do, not to do, things like that. Yeah. Anyways, if you have any recommendations of films that I should watch, TV shows, anything really. I guess what I will say before I leave, TV show recommendations would be What We Do in the Shadows, which is on FX. It's a vampire film or TV show, which is adapted or based on the Taika Waititi film What We Do in the Shadows, and then they made it into a TV show, which I really like the TV show way more, which I did not expect for that to happen. But it's on Hulu, and I really enjoyed watching it. I don't know, I'm a big vampire fan, so anything with vampires I'm totally in for. So there's that. I've been trying. I watched The Babysitter's Club, which is on Netflix. My friend Sue Ding did a short complimentary doc called The Claudia Kishi Club, which is about Claudia Kishi, the Asian American character in The Babysitter's Club. So she made a short, and which is also on Netflix, which kind of accompanies the series. So I know that this might not be the demographic for The Babysitter's Club, but if you have any younger siblings or people out there, I think they will really enjoy it. I mean, I'm kind of not in their demographics, but I really found it fascinating and fun. So there's that. Young Dub said, the fam just got Shudder, so it's a horror joint for the next few days. Oh, yes. Shudder is amazing. At this point, I feel like I should be sponsored by Shudder because I love them so much. Like I said, I did a review of Sugar Hill, which is also on Shudder. If you like zombie and blaxploitation films, that's on my channel right now. And then in the coming weeks, I will release a couple more videos of things that are also on Shudder. And yeah, I hope that I can try to do more videos, especially lives where I can talk to people. So let me know if there's certain times. I like to aim for Wednesdays and Fridays, maybe in the morning or later at night. I don't know. What is the right time? And I know that people, during the beginning of the quarantine, I used to watch or live stream watching films. If you look at my channel, we were watching Ex Machina, Train to Busan, and even now you can kind of watch it with me, not in real time, but, well, technically in real time, right? Not live, but real time. So we'll start the movie at the exact same time, and you can kind of see my reactions and things like that while we're watching it together. I don't know if that's helpful. Hopefully we can do more watch parties together. I think it's always hard to find one movie that everybody has access to, so I always pick Netflix movies, which isn't, I mean, not everybody has Netflix, right? But I think it's more accessible than other films, so there's that. Nice Lady Vengeance card in the background. Yes, I actually have my Lady Vengeance poster over there, but it's kind of hard to fit it in this little spot. So, oh, Lady Vengeance is also available on Shudder if anybody wants to watch. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to tell me what you've been watching in the comment section. I will be sure to update all the topics that I talked about in here, and I shall see you again maybe next week. Bye guys. I'll see you soon.